Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Grey Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 30th of December, 2022. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So final refuel of the year. Sorry about the last few days. I think I missed 3 refuels this week. Unfortunately, there was a lot of busyness happening around my households. For the first 2 days there, I wasn't able to do a refuel. And then on the third day, which was yesterday, my computer just wouldn't boot. And the funny thing is that like I figured out the problem probably at like 1 a.m. or something like that, or later in the night, and it was too late to record a refuel. But I'm back today, and I'm really excited to do this final episode for the year. And what a year it has been for crypto. I mean, obviously, we can call 2022 a bear market year similar to 2018. And I put out a tweet, though, on a positive note, where I said, all things considered, Ethereum had an amazing year in 2022. Yes, ETH is down 75% from its all-time high, but this year we saw the merge finally ship, L2 growth continue and even accelerate, and DeFi's product market fit validated in the best ways possible. Here's to an even bigger 2023 for Ethereum. And that's kind of funny because I've said this before on the refuel, but basically Ethereum didn't feel like it was in a bear market this year. If you looked at the ETH price and that was all you did, then of course, it was in a bear market, right? And ETH went down a lot this year. And went down even further than where it is today. Went to 880. We had some, really bad weeks this year. I think there was like 10 or 11 weeks in a row of just ETH going straight down, right? So it has not been pretty on the ETH price side. But even that, like 75% from all-time high, and the bottom was I think 80% down or something. When last bear market, we went 94% down. Relative to that, we're doing pretty good. But when we look at Ethereum as a network, as an ecosystem, well, there's no bear market there at all, right? I mean, I kind of highlighted the main things here with the merge finally shipping, which obviously was the biggest event of the year, bar none. There was nothing that happened that was bigger than that. In terms of positive events, I mean, if you want to go with negative events, maybe FTX collapsing was bigger than that, and Terra collapsing was bigger than that. Going through these events, we have had a year, that's for sure, both on the positive and negative side. But not just the merge, right? L2 growth. There was a recent Bankless newsletter that you should go read, showing the growth of L2, showing the metrics around it. And I mean, it's just continued all year, particularly the second half of this year, where L2 growth has really skyrocketed. And I think it's a mixture of things. Definitely more and more people onboarding onto L2s from Ethereum L1, people coming over from the alt L1s, which pretty much have no activity left on any of them because their prices are down so much, and a lot of the activity was just driven by the bull market. So they're coming back to Ethereum. They're experimenting with L2s. They're enjoying them. They're enjoying those cheap fees. And the L2s continue to develop their ecosystems. And as I said, you can check out Bankless's newsletter, which does a really great job of highlighting that with actual metrics. And then finally, we had DeFi's product market fit validated in, the best ways possible, simply because we saw so much of CeFi blow up this year, and a lot of it due to the custodial nature of CeFi. We saw, obviously, FTX. With FTX, SBF and Co. were yeeting customer deposits into things to make money on, and lose money on, obviously, as well. We saw Celsius blow up. We saw Terra blow up, right? That had a lot of centralization vectors to it. It was never really true DeFi. We saw that blow up. BlockFi, HODL, there's so many of these things, right? With 3RS Capital, right? All the contagion there. And DeFi continued chugging. DeFi on Ethereum continued chugging. The old DeFi protocols that everyone makes fun of and everyone thinks are boomer DeFi kept chugging, kept working really well, were available for you to use. I mean, Uniswap, as just a prime example here, was available the entire time. Uniswap didn't go down. It didn't get hacked. It didn't get exploited. It didn't lose anyone's money. And you were able to trade whatever assets you wanted on there, and you're still able to do that today. I think that's amazing, right? Maker, I mean, it's funny because Maker had a bit of drama back in the day, especially during the COVID dump, where it had a bit of bad debt that it had to make up for. But Maker hasn't skipped a beat. Compound's been fine. Aave's been fine. Curve's been fine. All these boomer DeFi protocols that people go on about as being not very interesting. Well, they're doing their job. They're being not very interesting, but that's good when it comes to finance. You don't want to be interesting, because when you are interesting, that means that you are either a Ponzi, like just straight up, you're either a Ponzi, or you are not actually DeFi, right? Because there's a lot of marketing, a lot of funneling people's money into it in order to grow. I mean, it looks very Ponzi, right, when you look at it like that. But Yeah, I think decentralized finance is the product market fit for blockchains generally. Money and DeFi, I mean, they go hand in hand, are the things that have the most product market fit by far, and Ethereum leads that by far. I mean, no other DeFi ecosystem even comes close to Ethereum, and I'm talking Ethereum as a whole, layer 1 and layer 2, but even just layer 1 is still miles ahead of everything else, and the other ecosystems don't really have much of a real DeFi ecosystem. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about other layer 1s and ones in particular that the price is down a lot and the ecosystem's down a lot. I'm not going to spend any time talking about this on the refuel. I actually filled in for Ryan on the Bankless Rollup this week where David and I spoke a lot about this, so you can check out the Rollup once it's live. Maybe it's already live. You can go check that out for my thoughts there. But yeah, generally, Ethereum has just had an absolutely incredible year, and it's poised to have an even better 2023, or maybe not even better because it's hard to top the merge, but a really exciting 2023, obviously with withdrawals in the first half of the year, and then hopefully ending out the year with proto dank sharding and a bunch of other upgrades, a bunch of other EIPs coming in with those two hard forks or two network upgrades that we will get next year. You guys know I'm personally most excited for staking withdrawals being enabled because it's really going to lead to, I believe, a lot of people to stake their ETH, contrary to popular belief of people unlocking their staked ETH, and it's going to complete that loop that I've spoken about before, which I think maybe is a perfect segue into another thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to Ethereum staking that I've mentioned on the refill before, but I really want to kind of articulate this in simple terms for people. So you guys know I've been spinning up a bunch of Rocket Pool mini pools lately. I currently have 5. It's really addictive, so I might actually spin up more. And you need 16 ETH to spin one up and about 100 RPL tokens. But the reason why it's really good to spin one up now is because there is an arbitrage opportunity. Now, the way this works is that the RETH pool is full right now. There is 5,000 ETH in that kind of RETH pool there. And if you deposit into it, there is by spinning up a mini pool, there is an arbitrage opportunity there. And what this means is that you can use something called Rocket Arb, which is a piece of sidecar software that you can use with the Rocket Pool Smart Node suite when setting up your mini pool to profit from that arbitrage. Now, it can vary. The profit can vary, obviously, depending on how full the pool is. But I've spun up 4 mini pools using this. The first one that I spun up, I screwed up and didn't use Rocket Arb. But the 4 that I've used, I've gotten at least 0.33 ETH from the ARB. So that's a free 0.33 ETH just for spinning up a mini pool. So if you want to stake your ETH, you should definitely look at spinning up a mini pool. It is so easy, as I've talked about before. I actually was talking to some friends and said that I would go as far as saying that staking with Rocket Pool, setting up a mini pool, not just buying RETH, but setting up a mini pool, doing the whole thing, is arguably easier than solo staking, just because they have such a nice interface and such good documentation around it. So if you're on the fence about it, well, I mean, there's a free ETH profit opportunity for you per mini pool, and it varies depending on obviously the fullness of that pool there and the arbitrage opportunity that exists at that point in time. But if you use Rocket Arb when spinning up a mini pool, you can profit from that. And I've earned 1.3 ETH-ish, I think, from it in total. And I'm hoping to earn more from it because I was going to use that ETH to stake anyway. Like if you're going to stake anyway, whether it be solo staking or somewhere else, definitely consider spinning up a mini pool there. But I mean, I have had so much fun lately with the Ethereum staking ecosystem. Now, you guys know I've been spinning up validators for quite a while as a solo staker, but it's refreshing to do something different with Rocket Pool and feel like I'm actually contributing to the network's health and decentralization rather than just contributing to centralized entities. Because Rocket Pool is a decentralized staking pool, and obviously I'm part of the ODAO now, so maybe my opinion is a bit more biased on Rocket Pool these days, but you guys know that I'm sending the rewards to the Protocol Guild anyway, so I'm not being paid to shill or anything like that, but I'm just so impressed with that whole ecosystem there, and I just thought it was a pretty big opportunity to get this ARB if you're interested in it, if you have the ETH to spin up a mini pool and the RPL tokens, of course. But yeah, definitely check that out. This thread from Jasper explains it a bit, and you can learn more about it in this GitHub repo, which I'll link in the description below. But just going back quickly to the reflecting on 2022, which I could do for a long time, but I want to reflect on one more thing, which I think is a pretty major thing. In the last bear market, Ethereum was dead to pretty much everyone in crypto except the most hardcore Ethereans. Now, you'll see people have this opinion of some other L1s right now, and it's a pet peeve of mine where people think that just because Ethereum came back from that bear market and continued to thrive, it means their favorite project is going to do the same thing. And I've talked about this before, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but the reason why Ethereum came back, and I think a big reason why Ethereum came back, and there's a lot of reasons, but I think one of the biggest reasons was that Ethereum didn't have any real competition back then for a smart contract platform. Funny enough, its biggest competition for capital was Bitcoin, and it suffered against Bitcoin greatly. I mean, the ETH BTC ratio went down a lot, and it was really bad, especially at the end of 2019, even early 2020. It was looking very dire out there for ETH against BTC. But because ETH didn't have much competition, because Ethereum was the birthplace of DeFi, it was the first one to actually do DeFi at scale and make it easy for people to use. I mean, relatively easy for people to use. And then ETH was being focused, and ETH as an asset was being focused on to improve its tokenomics. We had 1559, and obviously the merge, things like that being worked on even back then. It really came together for Ethereum. But I think that biggest part was the fact that it didn't have much real competition. EOS was not real competition. The 2017 era layer ones, they were all dead anyway. So when you're looking at these other ecosystems today, and you're seeing people say that, oh, because Ethereum came back from such a massive drawdown in 2018, it means that such and such can come back in 2022. I just don't think that's a great thesis to have. The things in 2022, trying to come out of the 2022 bear market, have many more headwinds than Ethereum had, have much more competition than Ethereum had, because not only are they competing with other layer ones, they're also competing with the Ethereum L2 ecosystem, which also didn't exist back in 2018, 2019, mind you, but exists today. So taking that all into account, if your thesis is really just Ethereum came back, so my favorite project will, I really would encourage you to revisit that thesis. And this isn't me being an ETH maxi saying this is me being a rationalist. It is not rational to make an investment thesis out of past behavior of other assets, right? That doesn't make any sense, because there are thousands of assets that have never gone back to their USD all-time high, let alone their all-time high against ETH and BTC. And there will be thousands of assets going forward, if not tens of thousands, that will never do it either. Even the ones that were considered really, really bullish and really, really popular last year. So a lot of them are never going to come back from that. A lot of them are never going to develop an ecosystem. They're going to go by the wayside. They're not going to die, so to speak. They won't go to zero. Nothing really goes to zero in crypto. Even Terra went to zero and then came back from it, right? Because they did their forks and everything. But when thinking about it from an investment thesis perspective, from a thesis on an ecosystem perspective, you can't just look at other ones that have succeeded and say that, oh, well, this is going to succeed because, this is similar to what happened back then. Look at all the layer ones from the Ethereum 2018 bear market era, or that kind of cycle. Look at all of them back then. None of them survived and thrived. Not one of them. And, there were ones around back then, such as even Cardano. And Cardano didn't even thrive during the bull market and is still not thriving today. There were ones that they weren't out back then but got built, like Polkadot. I mean, there's not really much happening there. So when looking at these ecosystems, you really need to take that into account. But anyway, I'm going to digress on that point there. I've got a bunch of other things to get through. And then I'm going to end today's episode actually at the end with some positive stuff. But anyway, moving on. So Ultrasound Money, the relay that they're running has 2.69% of validators connected to it, which is really cool to see. So you guys remember that Ultrasound Money and Gnosis set up two non-censoring relayers. Ultrasound Money has 2.7% of total validators connected to it. And you can actually go to the website and see this might be updated since then. Yeah, now it's at 3.5%. Of all validators registered to it. So if you are running a validator and you haven't registered to the Ultrasound relay just yet, you can do so. The link is here. It's very easy to do. You can do it even if you're running kind of a solo staking or with a Rocket Pool mini pool now, because they added support on the smart node stack for the Ultrasound relay, which is very cool. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that this is a non-censoring relay as well. So that's why I'm highlighting this here. All right, so the Ethereum on ARM account, which is one of my favorite accounts to follow on Twitter, put out a tweet, I think it was a couple of days ago, where they said they're running Optimism on a ROC 5B board, which is really cool. They're running it alongside Geth and Teku, and it's time to look into Ethereum Layer 2 nodes. So obviously you guys know that Layer 2s have their own nodes, validators, sequences, all that software running to power them, and eventually they're going to want to hand this over to the community and not just run it as a centralized team. Now, to do so, will obviously require hardware, not like mining hardware or anything like that, but hardware similar to what you would be required to use for Ethereum staking. Well, if you already have a staking rig, you can run these other things on there, especially if it's a bit more powerful, but you can do it on a ROC 5B board. Imagine running an Ethereum validator, an Optimism sequencer, an Arbitrum sequencer, and some ZK sequences. Imagine doing that on these boards. It'd be very, very cool. Obviously, as things get bigger and bigger, and maybe things get more and more complicated, especially on the ZK side, you'll need more beefy hardware. But so for someone like me who's got a really over-spec'd staking PC for my solo staking, I would love to use that with this sort of stuff, right? Running Optimism or Arbitrum nodes or whatever other nodes, and have that not disturb my solo staking validators, and have it all chugging along very nicely without having to spin up another computer or a separate computer for it, and improving the decentralization of obviously not only Ethereum, but also the layer 2s built on top of it. So I just thought that was a cool thing that the Ethereum on ARM account highlighted here. Moving on, Joseph from the Ethereum Foundation put out a year-end blog post here of the EF-supported teams research and development roundup. So these are all the teams that the Ethereum Foundation has been supporting. I believe this is for Q4, and this is obviously the last update for the year. Actually, no, this isn't Q4. This is for, I believe, the entire year, and highlighting the teams that they've been supporting here and all the efforts there. So if you want to check out this blog post, it'll be linked in the YouTube description below for you to do so. But it's a great way to go down a bunch of rabbit holes, especially over the continued holiday period. Maybe you have a few weeks off work leading into January and you're looking for some reading material. Well, this is a great place to start. So I'll link this in the YouTube description below for you to check out. We have a new blog post from Pseudo Theos where he says, the term zkVM has become broader over time. There are two major approaches, language compatibility and bytecode compatibility. And that's the title of Pseudo Theos' blog post here, distinguishing ZK EVM. So if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into the technical aspects of ZK VMs, definitely check out this blog post from Pseudo. And also, if you're looking for reading material, definitely check out Pseudo's entire Mirror page here. It is very good. There are a lot of great blog posts in here, specifically about ZK VMs, layer 2s, and some other related things. I mean, there's a bunch of posts now that you can read, but I'll link this particular one in the YouTube description below. And there's also one that I think you should read from Vitalik, if you haven't yet, around the different types of ZK EVMs, because there's, I believe, 3 or 4 different types of ZK EVMs with different projects focusing on different ones. Like, for example, Tycho is focusing on a Type 1 ZK EVM. I believe Scroll's focusing on Type 2, and I think Polygon is Type 2 or Type 3, but they've got multiple ZK EVM efforts happening there, but it's good to read up on this sort of stuff, especially as we progress through the holiday period where you possibly have more time if you're on holidays, and you can send it to a Kindle or something and read the posts there. All right, so Synthetix or SNX Perps V2 are now live, featuring 5 to 10 basis points trading fees and deep liquidity for traders. Now, this is live, obviously, on the Optimism network, and you can trade via Quenta and the Decentrex front ends here. So they continue by saying, before anything else, Perps V2 is tradable on those front ends, and these two protocols tap into Synthetix liquidity to power Perps trading. And Perps V2 is a novel exchange engine that efficiently matches buyers and sellers, with SNX stakers serving as temporary counterparty as needed. Stakers will only take on asset risk temporarily, while incentives reward traders for bringing markets to neutral. And you can read the rest of the thread here. And the blog post, I believe there's a blog post, which I'll link in the YouTube description below. But great to see Synthetix continuing to chug along here. They're an older project in crypto. As I've explained before, they kind of found a little bit of product market fit on layer 1, but then got priced out because the gas fees went up a lot. Then they were one of the first, if not the first projects to actually build on a generalized layer 2 like Optimism, and now they're just continuing to build out a great ecosystem on there. So definitely go give SNX Perps V2 a look. I'll link this in the YouTube description below. Something that was pointed out to me that I missed from the other day, actually a few days ago now, was a blog post from Ingonyama where they introduced the inaugural Z Games, which accelerates Aleo incentivized testnet. So the goal of this competition is to drive Aleo prover throughput to the max using GPU acceleration. Now, for those of you who don't know, Aleo is a layer 1 blockchain trying to I guess, do just zero knowledge at layer one rather than layer two, which I think, I'm very critical of layer one blockchains, but I think as an experiment, as like a research project, it's fine, especially for something like Ingonyama that is building these kind of hardware and building different software implementations to take advantage of ZK stuff and ZK proving. They're going to want their technology everywhere, not just for layer twos, but layer ones as well. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about the Z games, you can check out these blog posts here. I don't believe there's a thread, no, it's just a blog post here, how to get involved, and kind of the rules behind it and everything there. Those details will be linked in the YouTube description below. All right, so a thread here I came across over the weekend, I believe, from Dino Eggs, which is one that talks about light clients. So what are light clients, how are they different from full nodes, and what are their benefits? You'll know that I've talked about light clients a lot on the Refuel before and about how they're considered a bit of a holy grail for blockchains. Well, Dino Eggs' tweet thread here does a really great job of explaining exactly what they are. In simple terms, I really enjoyed the thread. I'll link the thread in the YouTube description below. But what I mean by the holy grail here is that, I mean, I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating. Imagine being able to have a light client node on your phone that gives you the same or almost the same guarantees of the validity of the network that you're interacting with as a full node does, so that you can basically use your phone as a full node or near a full node in terms of security guarantees and being able to relay your transactions off that. And using minimal data, both data in terms of bandwidth and data in terms of data storage on your phone. And obviously, your phone isn't as powerful as your computer, or maybe it is. I mean, phones are pretty powerful these days. But imagine being able to do that. And even not just phones, but low-powered hardware like Raspberry Pis and RockFi B board, which can already run Ethereum full nodes, but may eventually not be able to. Well, light clients, I mean, that's the solution there. And this goes hand in hand with Verkle trees, which I've said before that you guys should definitely be doing more research into as part of the Verge Ethereum roadmap item, which you can just Google the Verge Ethereum and it should come up with related things. That's another bit of reading material that you should pay attention to, because I think that's going to be a bigger and bigger theme through 2023 and 2024 along with light clients. So definitely go check out this thread. I'll link it in the YouTube description below. I guess last up here before I get into the thing I wanted to talk about to end off this episode, just a shout out. I did another bull case episode for Ethereum on Bankless with DC investor Justin Drake, and of course the Bankless guys, David and Ryan here. You may have already seen it, but I mean, if you're looking to feel bullish heading into 2023, you can go check out this podcast/YouTube video. I'll link it in the YouTube description below for you there. All right, so I've left a bit of time to basically focus on this tweet that I put out yesterday. So I said, going to aim to be a more positive tweeter in 2023. I find myself still getting involved with too much drama/unnecessary spats about things that don't even matter, and Twitter as a platform is very good at amplifying toxicity/negativity. Less bullshit, more positivity. Now, this is actually quite hard to do on social media generally, and it's really hard to do it in crypto. Because social media really wants you to get involved in the drama. It wants you to contribute to it. It rewards you for it because drama brings attention. It brings likes. It brings retweets. It brings followers. So if you are trying to grow a following, then getting engaged with drama and causing drama and doing that sorts of stuff is actually a really great way to grow a following. And it becomes addictive for people. It becomes addictive for people who monetize their following on Twitter and other social media platforms. So it is quite hard to do this. And for me, I got used to being not toxic, but being getting involved with a lot of drama from the 2018, 2019, 2020 days where I was on Twitter all the time just defending Ethereum from Bitcoin maximalists. And I kind of trained myself to get into that, where I became very, very defensive for a long time. And then through 2021, the noise was so much, and I had like all these people calling me an ETH maxi and all these Altal 1 shillers coming at me and everything, and then I just kind of felt myself getting more and more toxic over time. This year, I tend to have tweeted a lot less than I previously had, and I got involved with a lot less of kind of these spats or this drama, but I still got involved with it. I still found myself dunking on other ecosystems when I really didn't need to do that. And I wasn't necessarily doing it for engagement farming or anything like that. I was just doing it because I was so used to doing it in the past. So that's why I kind of put this out there as my New Year's resolution of sorts to be a more positive tweeter in 2023, to stop spreading so much negativity and stop getting involved with this. Because people really do resonate with the positivity. People really resonate with saying, positive and good things. And even if people are going to call me an ETH maxi if I'm just talking about Ethereum all the time, so be it. I'll just block them, right? I'm not going to put up with it. My block list, I have 3,600 people on my block list. Probably not all of them are people, probably some of them are bots, but I just block people that are going to be a smartass or a reply guy or just going to bring negativity to my replies, because when I see replies to my tweets, I want to see good replies. I want to be able to interact with people. I want to see more positivity there. So I want it to, so to speak, be the change I want to see in the world. And I feel like, what better way to do that and to start a fresh year like this. I do think generally 2023 is going to be a more positive year than 2022 has been for the ecosystem as a whole. There's really just going to be the true believers left. The markets may recover, which will obviously add positivity in the air. There'll be continued development on the Ethereum front, and I'll continue covering it on the refuel, of course. But generally, I just don't want to get involved with this negativity anymore. I'm going to try my hardest to. I'm probably going to kind of a cave here and there, but this is specific to Twitter. I think in the Daily Way Discord, I do find myself venting at times, and I do find myself venting on the refuel. I think it's always good to have a vent. It's always good to talk to people that are friends of yours and can kind of like take it and don't just come at you with bullshit, which is what happens in the Daily Way Discord channel, which I really enjoy. But yeah, I'm aiming to be more positive in 2023. Now, on that note as well, I would encourage all of you to aim to do that. I think it's just a better thing to do overall, and positivity begets positivity. But in saying that, that doesn't mean to be weak or to let yourself get walked over. If you see bullshit on social media, if you see misinformation and you want to call it out, call it out. Like, don't just let it slide if you actually want to call it out. I'm not saying they have to be on there full time and call it out. I'm not saying it's your duty or your job or anything, but if you're feeling compelled to do it, then do it. Be nice about it. Don't be toxic about it, of course, but do it. Because the worst thing about this industry, in my eyes, is that so much misinformation, so much lies, so much just bad information in general gets spread so easily, and there's not enough people speaking up against it. There's not enough people educating about it. There's a lot more than we used to have, but not as many as I would love to see, especially going into 2023. Now, I do think Ethereum is in a really great place right now. I think the Ethereum FUD generally is pretty much non-existent at this point, and there is a lot of FUD from Bitcoin maximalists, but I don't take that seriously. It's not even good FUD. It's like really, really bad and shitty FUD that I don't even think is worth talking about anymore. I do talk about it on the refuel sometimes, but honestly, it's just so bad. It's so repetitive, and you guys know they pivot all the time. It was the merge. It was the merge never going to happen. Now it's staking withdrawals never going to happen, and I wonder what it's going to be after that. It's not even worth engaging with that, right? I'm talking about the people who just don't know the specifics about Ethereum. Maybe they've been misled. Maybe they're just spreading misinformation on Twitter without even knowing it. Those kinds of people are worth correcting, and the audience that view this and read this is also worth correcting, because I spent a lot of my time doing this in the previous market cycle up until 2020, and I think it paid a lot of dividends. I think it really helped Ethereum come out of its, bear market and really helped Ethereum thrive, and I want to see that continue, but I don't have the energy to be on Twitter and doing this all the time. I am on Twitter a lot, but I'm definitely not going to get involved with this stuff anymore. I'm going to educate via the refuel and talk to you guys in the Discord channel. I'm definitely not going to get involved with Twitter spats every day. I've done that long enough. I think I need a break from that. But yeah, I think that's going to round out today's episode, the last episode of the year. I hope you all have an amazing New Year's and you've got plans and everything. I think it's going to be a great 2023, as I said before. It really is only up from here. We've had such a shitty 2022. It just kind of boggles the mind that 2023 could be worse. And maybe I'm going to regret saying that. But honestly, if you go into 2023 with a positive mindset, I think that's a good start, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to be a more positive tweeter, and I hope you will join me in that. But on that note, thank you all for listening and watching this year. But I'll catch you all next year. Don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and yeah, as I said, I will catch you all next year. Thanks everyone.